What's up, everybody? I'm Chris, and welcome back to the 8-Bit Guitarist. I hope everybody's new year was fun and safe and all that. Just a couple of announcements before I get into today's topic. Just because of how my work schedule and all that is going and just how life is at the moment, I'm not going to stick to a strict upload schedule for at least the next few weeks, maybe longer. I don't do this full time, obviously, and the stuff I want to upload, I want to actually make sure is good content. I don't just want to keep trying to beat the YouTube algorithm with mediocre videos. For the record, it doesn't really work. With that said, I'm still going to try to upload every week, and maybe it'll be more of these vlog style videos for the time being, just because these are easier to do. That said, let's jump in. So today I'm talking about my top 10 favorite pieces of gear from 2019. This isn't gear that necessarily came out in 2019, it just happened to be what stuck around here in 2019. I do a lot of trading pedals and that sort of thing, so gear doesn't stick around here a whole lot, but if it does, usually there's a good reason. About half or a third of this list will probably be pedals, just fair warning. Now, the first three things on this list are kind of going to be a little boring. I think they're worth mentioning because they're super useful and good quality. Now, my number 10 is the string butler. It helps improve tuning stability on guitars like Les Pauls and that have tuning problems because of how the strings come off of the nut. The only reason this one's number 10 right now is because I haven't actually tried it yet, but I've seen a lot of reviews and I've been excited about it for a really long time. So more to come on this later. Speaking of more boring pieces of gear, my number 9 would be the Furman power conditioner. I've been looking for a mobile alternative to my rack-mounted power conditioner for a long time, and I finally picked this one up from Sweetwater for $40. Number 8 is actually, my fiance bought it at GearFest this past year for the both of us, and that's the Hercules guitar rack. Just makes our library slash music studio look a little nicer. It's high quality and it keeps everything organized. So now we're going to get into a little bit more interesting pieces of gear. Number 7, I picked up a Focusrite 2i2 recording interface, which is the first real recording interface I've had in a while. So far, this thing has been great. My big issue with most audio interfaces is finding drivers or getting the right drivers for the system, and this just was plug and play. And I've been using it with Pro Tools for the past couple months, and it's fantastic. I think I picked it up on Reverb used for $60-$70, somewhere around there. Number 6, for you bass players out there, the EHX Battalion. This is the core of my bass rig. Now, granted, I'm not much of a bass player, but wow, this thing covers just about everything you could want. Compression, gate, EQ, DI, drive, of course. So far, the gate has been a little wonky on it, and I haven't decided if the compression is right where I need it to be yet. But everything else on it is fantastic. Next up is the EHX Mod 11, which is from 2019. Now, I probably should have waited on the Wampler Terraform to come out, because I'm a huge fan of Brian Wampler and just about every pedal he puts out. But this thing is so compact and so easy to use, I couldn't pass it up. I think I got this one as an open box or store display model after selling off a few other pedals. And I'm not a big modulation guy, so this covers just about everything I could want. Another one that's stuck around here is the Behringer SF300 Super Fuzz. So I'm sure a lot of you know this is the Dope Throne sound, the one that Electric Wizard used. I believe it's a clone of a Boss FZ3 Hyper Fuzz, I want to say. This is just a cool pedal. Not much more to say about it, and especially if you're into crazy doom fuzz sounds. Number 3. So I also got the Kili Tone Workstation, and I sold off a lot of pedals to get this thing because I noticed this year that my board was getting big enough that I was starting to have power issues. So I got rid of 3 or 4 different pedals, and this thing replaced all of them, and it's doing great doing so. It does compression, boost, and different types of drive. So I have that right now. I have that feeding into a higher gain pedal. I've been switching out between my full tone OCD and my Friedman BEOD, which has given me so many different options. That's all I can really say about it. Definitely, if you can find one of these for cheap, pick it up. They are fairly pricey. I did get mine. I think it was open box or used. I think it was open box I got from across the country, but 10 out of 10, would buy again. So we're coming down to the last 2, and either of these could have been number 1, but I love both of these. So my number 2 is the Nux, or Nux, however you want to say it, Solid Studio. It effectively, it's a cab sim and power amp sim in a box with a DI line. For history's sake, because I know somebody's going to say it's a clone of the Iridium, this was actually out before the Iridium, and I bought it prior to the Iridium's release. Now, I haven't played the Iridium, but I would say it's probably a cheaper alternative to, a good alternative to it. And for a third of the price, I think they come in at $150 or maybe less, depending where you order it from. I can't complain about this one bit. It's solidified my ampless rig, and it's now a staple on my board. And finally, my number 1 piece of gear for 2019, and I got this just before the end of the year, is the Marshall DSL-20 head. It's all tube, it's 20 watts, and it sounds awesome. This is the best sounding amp I've ever owned. It's not, I know it doesn't seem like a lot of power, but man, it gets loud. And through a Marshall 4x12, it is the sound I've been looking for a while. Well, that's all I have for this week, guys. See you next time.